Hey guys, welcome to this episode of the Bish Bash Bosh Book Club. I'm Ian, Henry isn't here, so I'm going to take the reins today and I'm going to talk to you about my favourite recipes from the brand new cookbook. Now, no time like the present, so let's crack on. The first chapter is quick, and my favourite recipe in the quick chapter is on page 47. Page 47 is a wonderful page. And the reason why it's a wonderful page is because guacajax is on it. Now, you may think, what on earth is a guacajac? Let me tell you what a guacajac is. Guacajac is a very simple recipe. All you need is a sweet potato and some wonderfully creamy guacamole. It's basically like a jacket potato, like you would have a beans on jacket potato. This is a healthy, nutritious version of that classic meal. It takes as long as a sweet potato takes to roast, and the guacamole recipe that we've included in this particular chapter is really good. Now, to give it a bit of bulk, and to give it a bit of bite, and to give it a bit of protein uplift, in the guacamole, we have included black beans, which is something that you don't usually see in guac. But with this recipe, we thought it was necessary to give it that bulk. But this recipe, trust me. Now, guacajax, you haven't heard of that before. And neither had we. We kind of like playing around with different names for different dishes. And I was thinking about, guacamole potato. What could you call a guacamole sweet potato, jacket sweet potato? And we kind of started thinking about it, and well, guacajax popped into our heads. We Googled it, and there wasn't a single search term in all of Google. Actually, no, that's a lie. There was one search term on the whole of the internet saying guacajax. So we thought, yeah, we're taking that and making it a thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, guacajax is my favorite recipe from the quick chapter. Onward. So the second chapter in this book of ours is big. It's a nice big word for a nice big recipe. And my favorite recipe in the big chapter, shepherd's pie. Now, I'm a big fan of shepherd's pie, always have been. I'm a Yorkshire man and Yorkshire food is what I like. This is really hearty. It's the perfect thing to warm you up on a winter's day. Do you know when autumn comes in and it starts getting a little bit colder and the leaves on the trees start changing colour and your clothing gets a little bit thicker? I find that your food needs to get that little bit heartier, and shepherd's pie just ticks every single box. Now, what we've done with this shepherd's pie is we've used mushrooms and we've used lentils and we've used a whole bunch of other fantastic flavours to mimic mince. Now, low and slow is the order of the day here to make that sauce. Low and slow brings all of that sort of texture together, gets rid of any unwanted juices, and it just gives it a wonderful mouthfeel. You are gonna love it. Now, if you look at the pretty picture, which was so wonderfully taken by Lizzie Mason, you can see that there's like these little walnut kind of shapes of potato. We did that with a piping bag. If you don't want to do that, you don't have to, but look at how pretty it looks. This is the sort of thing that you put on a winter's table and everyone goes, wow, and that's what you want. So the next chapter in the book is feasts. And look, Henry looks very handsome here, don't you think? Very handsome indeed. And he's gazing down upon what happens to be my favourite recipe in this chapter. Check it out. Ta-da! Lasagna, classic lasagna. Now, check it out. Hello, classic lasagna. In our first cookbook, Bosh, there was 2 lasagnas. Henry and I are big fans of lasagna and always have been. But in the last book, the lasagna was, it's quite a long process, quite tricky, like unbelievably delicious, but not truly a classic lasagna. So with this dish, we wanted to recreate something that you would nip into an Italian taverna and order and be really happy with. So we've made this bechamel sauce, which is like to die for. It's dreamy, it's creamy, it's the sort of thing that will just activate your taste buds and make your life better for the time that you're eating the dish. And the ragu that we've made for this dish, again, it's low, it's slow, it's drawing out all of the wonderful flavour inside it. There's loads of red wine in there for loads of richness. And this dish, on a Sunday, after you've cooked it for like an hour and a half and you've got your whole family around and you pop that on the table and you've got your salad there accompanying it, everyone's just going to be like, wowza. This recipe right here, if you make it for the people then, they're going to love it. So the next chapter in the book is a good one. It's sides and sharers. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Food is there to be cooked and shared and loved and appreciated by everyone. And my favorite recipe in this very important chapter in this book is Wild West wings. Now, we made a video for this. Check out the photo. Now, back in the day, I used to be quite the fan of chicken, of the fried variety. After a few pints on a Saturday night, you'd go and grab some. But obviously, when you go vegan or go plant-based, that stuff is off the table. But we still want to appreciate that kind of flavor profile. We still want that kind of crunch. We want to replicate what we used to like. So we decided to create something that is remarkably meaty, only using mushrooms. We collaborated with our friend Claire Gray, who gave us the idea to use oyster mushrooms, and it was really, really good. The crispy batter is fantastic. The barbecue sauce we make for this is just like next level, knock you out, fire in a bowl, amazing. This is like with some chips, with a bit of salad, just there is a little dipper. This recipe right here, Wild West wings, is a certifiable win. The next chapter in the book is greens. Now, greens is good. Eat your greens, my mama said. So I started taking that literally, to the point where we had to have a salady section in the book. But don't be put off by salad. Salad can be very, very boring. It can be quite like, okay, I've eaten a big bowl of salad, but I need something more, something with sustenance, something with bite, something with body, something that will fill you up. So my favorite salad in this particular chapter is the Thanksgiving salad. It is very, very, very hearty, very, very tasty, and will fill you up. It's got lentils in there, it's got kale in there, it's got wonderful butternut squash in there as well. It's got candied pecans and really chewy little cranberries. So all of those flavors that you'd sort of associate with North America and Canada, we wrapped it up in one salad and called it the Thanksgiving salad. So for any Americans out there, this one's for you. So we're rattling through this book like there's no tomorrow. So this chapter is a naughty one. Desserts. I mean, I look pleased as punch there, and why wouldn't I? Because desserts are, you know, the cherry on the top of your meal. And my favorite recipe in this particular chapter is probably the single most easy recipe in the whole book. It's a recipe that we discovered when we were in Scotland doing some press work there last year. It's Empire biscuits. For those of you who haven't been to Scotland or have Scottish relatives or have never been there, Empire biscuits are a thing. They love them up there, and we can see why. We went to a book signing there, ate some Empire biscuits, were like, oh my God, they were so good. Give me a cup of tea immediately to complement this wonderful biscuit. We have to recreate this for our second book. And this is exactly what we've done. This is simple. This is shortbread, raspberry jam, icing sugar, and that's it. So not only are you getting the Empire biscuit recipe, you're getting the simple shortbread recipe too. And both of those things go marvelously on a Monday afternoon when you've got your feet up and you've just finished work and you've got a cup of tea and you're like, I'm gonna nyam this biscuit. The final chapter that we're going to talk about here is breakfasts. There's Henry. He's got his swirly pancakes. That's a very, very good recipe. But do you know what? It's not as good as this one. Because this recipe, the big breakfast bagel, might be my favorite recipe in the whole book. And I'm not lying when I say that. The reason why is because part of the big breakfast bagel is our scrambled tofu. Now, we developed this fantastic technique for making a vegan scrambled egg, which no one else had done. Like, no one else. You look online, it's just not there. And the quite simple process. We use silken tofu, we use firm tofu, we use kala namak, which is black salt. We use a technique which you'll find out about in the book, and we create something that is eggy flavored, eggy textured, and eggy satisfying. It's really quick to knock up, and this recipe will knock your bloody socks off. Yummo. Hashtag yummo. That's what this is. In fact, that's what the whole book is. They're my favorite recipes. This is Bosh. Henry's not here, so I'm just gonna have to finish. Bish, bash, bosh!